The United States Mint has been striking coins for almost 240 years now, and over that long and storied history there has been one constant, the 1 cent denomination. It was the first coin struck by the U.S. Mint back in 1787, and it is without a doubt one of the most popular coins among collectors today. But with a production history stretching over 230 years, it's easy to see why many collectors simply forget about many of the original coins and designs. And tonight we have one of the most popular among collectors today, the fabled Wild West cents, the Indian. The Indian head cent was struck by the United States Mint from 1859 until 1909, and it's a coin design that many have simply completely forgotten about. I know when I was younger, it was still possible to find an Indian head cent or two in your pocket change. But nowadays, today, you'd be hard-pressed to find a wheat cent, let alone something as hard to find as the Indian head cent. And tonight we have something very special. The first 5 Indian head cents struck by the United States Mint. These coins mark the changing of an era at the United States Mint and were created during one of the more tumultuous times in United States Mint history. This 5-piece set is item number 905-4839. It's 905-4839. And we are just $139.95 for each of our 5-piece sets. And at that price, we are less than $28 a coin, the envy of our competition. This collection with them would cost you at least $255. We are at least $125 less at just $139.95. You can call in at 1-866-518-5933, or you can head over to our website, abccoins.com. Then once you're there, head to the search bar on the right-hand side of the page and put 905-4839 to grab the first 5 Indian head cents in United States Mint history. Coins that would actually go on to be called white cents later on, and I'll explain that in just a minute. This was the beginning of a new era at the United States Mint. While they aren't the first ever small size 1 cent denominations, with the 1857 and 58 Flying Eagle cents having been struck just before these, those caused major production issues at the Mint, so the Indian head cent was produced, and that would kick off 50 straight years of the design. It would be replaced in 1909 by the Lincoln cent, which is still being produced to this very day. So for many collectors, it's the original 1 cent denomination in the small cent size for the United States Mint. When this coin first came out in 1859, it was struck from mostly copper. However, they started to include nickel because as the price of gold rose at the time, so too did the value of copper. And simply put, there was too much copper in the coins. But unfortunately, shortly after that, when the Civil War kicked off, nickel would once again become an incredibly valuable wartime material. And with such heavy shortages taking place during the Civil War, many different parts of the government had to do everything they could to limit how much they used, including the United States Mint. It would be a sign of things to come for World War II for sure. So we would then change them to a nickel composition until they had to have them be pulled back afterwards. This resulted with that nickel inside of these coins, making them something very special. They had an appearance unlike any other copper 1 cent piece you've seen. There's a shine to them that's just not there with anything else. It's why they would later be called white cents. There was a short period of time they were actually called nickels due to their nickel content. But in 1866 and 1865, we would actually see the introduction of full nickel coins, the 3 cent in 65 and the 5 cent piece in 66. As a result, to avoid confusion, they stopped calling them nickels and switched to the term white cents. These coins are also incredibly rare. The highest mintage among these 5 coins is 49.8 million in 1863. 1861, by comparison right there, that has just 10.1 million total coins. To understand just how rare these coins are, only 2 of these 5 have a higher mintage than the 1909 VDB mistake coins made at the end of this series. They would strike 28.4 million VDB coins before they stopped production due to public outrage for having the VDB on the coin. So these coins had smaller yearly mintages than a coin that the US Mint only had in production for a very short period at the start of 1909. To put it into perspective, across the entire Indian head cent series, they would strike 1.8 billion total coins. Might sound like a lot, but let's put that into perspective. They would make more than 2 billion coins in the first 10 years of issue for the Lincoln cent. From 1909 to 1919, they'd strike upwards of 2 billion coins. 250 million more than the entire Indian head cent series. That is how rare these coins truly are. On average, 34 million per strike for the Indian head cent. Meanwhile, today, we strike an astronomical number of Lincoln cents. 2023, we saw the US Mint striking 376.9 million coins a month. That's 12.5 million a day. And we're talking how these coins had just 10 million in all of 1861, just 20 million in 1860, just 36 million in 1859, 28 million in 1862, and just 49.8 million in 63. These coins are hard to find today because many of these old school Indian head cents were also destroyed for their metal content. Remember, this was during the Civil War. Copper and nickel were incredibly valuable to the war effort, with people turning to any corners of their lives to get their hands on it, which resulted in many, many coins being melted down. In fact, it was due to the destruction of all these coins that the mint would shift towards the full copper ones many years later, after they noticed that during the wartime shortages of the cent coins, they were using special bronze Civil War tokens in lieu of currency. So the mint realized, hey, we don't need to put nickel back into these things. So it would mark another end of an era at the United States Mint. These are the first 5 Indian head cents ever made. Each is in beautiful collector's quality circulated condition, and we are well over $120 less than our nearest competition while our supplies last. Call in now and get yours while you still can.